Okay. Today, we start a new section, the last section of taxes. And, well, we know that we live in a federalism, a federalist style government where there are different layers of government. We do not only have to worry about the federal government in DC, we also have a state government, a county government, and a city government. Sacramento, LA County, LA City, where we live. Well, each one of these layers of government has to be paid for somehow. Government doesn't exist and run magically. There are people who do the jobs, and these people need to get paid. And one thing we know is that each state has its own revenue and spending plans. My students, we live in California, the best state, in the city of LA. And, well, in our state, we have sales tax that goes to the state. We have income tax that goes to the state. We also get money from the federal government. The federal government gives money to all states at varying levels. And we have smaller taxes along the way. Some states have no sales tax, like our good friends to the north in Oregon. They don't have a sales tax. They rely on income tax. Other states have no income tax, like Florida. Famously, if you're a professional athlete and you sign a contract with a team in Florida, you're not going to get the same kind of tax taken out as you would here in our state. And that can save you some money. It's something that people think about sometimes. Then they also think about our beautiful beaches and weather and culture, and they change their mind and they stay in Cali. But I digress. Alaska and Texas tax their oil companies at a very high clip, and that helps pay for a lot of their state stuff. We do not tax our oil companies, or at least not at a high clip. There was a ballot measure back in 2010 that was an attempt to tax some of the oil companies here, and we voted it down in our state. The people said no. They thought it would raise taxes on gas. And in California, we get the most money in income tax, and then state sales tax, and we do also have a corporate income tax as well, corporate tax. So let's take a look at the numbers. This is the individual income. These are the percentages. We're going to look at 2016, 2017. These may have changed bits and pieces, but it's still basically the same. 68% of the tax money that Sacramento uses to fund all of the things that Sacramento does, I'll talk about that next, comes from the individual income tax. That's tax on individuals' paychecks. 21% comes from sales tax. So anytime anyone in our state buys something and is taxed, per percentage of that goes to Sacramento. There's also sales taxes in cities. In Los Angeles, we've also added certain taxes here and there that have to do with the homeless crisis. We chose to tax ourselves to try and help get homeless people off our streets, this kind of thing. 9% comes from corporate tax. And then there's that 3%, which is various other taxes we're not going to really get into. Okay. So if we get most of our money from corporate tax, I'm sorry, from individual income tax, let's take a look at the individual income tax percentages. What percentage of taxes do we pay? And this is from a website called NerdWallet. Thank you, NerdWallet. And I believe that these are very recent taxes. If you make $0 to $9,000, you pay 1%. The next 10,000, 2%. Next 10,000, 4%, 6%. Up to 60,000, 46 to $58,000, you get taxed 8%. These are marginal tax rates, so we all get taxed 1% on our first 9,000. We all get taxed 2% on our next 12,000, and 4% on our next 12,000, 6% on our next 13,000, and 8% on our next 12,000, 9.3%. And this is a big one. Look at that. Look at this, the size of that category. If you make between $58,000 and $289,000 and $300,000, that's a massive amount of money. You get taxed 9.3% on that money. That's probably where a lot of Californians end. That's the end of their tax payments. And of course, if you make between 300 and 350, you get taxed at 10.3. If you make between 360 and 600,000, you get taxed at 11.3. And if you make over $600,000, every dollar that you make over $600,000, marginal taxes, you're going to get taxed at 12.3%. Right? So this is a progressive tax code, which of course we know means that the more you make, the higher percentage you get taxed. And of course, we also know that we all get taxed the same for our lower amounts of money. We all get taxed. That's marginal tax. And we know how marginal taxes work. And that makes up, almost 70% of all the money that is spent in our state. What about the sales tax? That's number 2. What's our sales tax rate? Well, let's look at the countries. We have we maybe have the highest sales tax in the country. When I go to the store, I think I have to give 10 cents on the dollar. 8.25 of those 10 cents is going to go to Sacramento. The other 1.75 goes to other stuff. You can see Oregon's a big 0, Montana 0. There's a lot of 6s, Texas, Arizona, Nevada. 7s in Mississippi, and Tennessee, and Illinois, and New York's down to 4%. Wow, hey, New York. 6% for Florida, 0 in Alaska, 4% in Hawaii. All right. Yeah, so when the economy is going well and people are out there spending money, that 8.25 cents on every dollar that is bought in the entire state goes to Sacramento, and they use those things for stuff that Sacramento does. When people are making a lot of money in the state, when we have more jobs coming in, that's when the income tax goes up. And then the more corporations are here, they're only coming in at 9%, but hey, thanks corporations, we appreciate it. Please don't move out of state where there's no corporate tax, no individual income tax. This is really the one that, some people say, oh, I'm moving to Florida, I'm going to have lower taxes. And that's it, folks. That's where we get our money from. Next, we're going to find out where we spend it.